Let us not dawdle, for there are grudges to settle, and new entries in the Dammer's Cron to right!
Howdy, howdy, it's Devil here, and welcome to a game with the Dowie versus the Empire, a double feature Tuesday, and I'll go over my build in this real quick. This is very different than a Worker Boss's build that we released earlier this morning, but it's I think this is a really fun game and demonstrates some fun things you can do with the Dowie. So in this, we are going to be bringing Clan Angren and Belagar Ironhammer. He has no abilities. He's just 1100 gold, and he's beefy, 60 melee attack, 55 melee defense, 120 armor, and a silver shield, and 98 leadership. Very, very good. I don't have any other heroes, just Belagar, and we do have some Thunderers for the front line, each with a chevron. We're going to see if we can get some free chevrons in this fight using a little chevron trick. And in our main front line, we have 3 Dwarf Warriors and 2 Longbeards. And for our back line to defend against cavalry, we have 2 Miners and 3 Longbeards with great weapons who are a pretty decent anti-large contingent. Now, for my Vanguard deployment, I have 3 Miners out front here to protect 4 Bugman's Rangers. I love this idea of trying to get out in front and get into someone's face early with the Dwarves, because they never expect it. They do expect artillery, but it's very rare anyone's ever ready for this Vanguard deployment. And my opponent, we'll go over my opponent's army. He starts with Balthasar Gelt, and Gelt has... God damn many crickets. Okay. He has a Staff of Valance for the great increased power reserves and recharge rate. He does have Arcane Conduit for the magic. He has Transmutation of Lead for the minus 26 melee attack, minus 25% weapon damage. He also has Searing Doom for the bombardment, and Metal Shifting. Every time he casts, his army gets 10% armor piercing damage, 10% weapon damage map wide. He does also have Evasion. So for the rest of his leadership, he has 2 Empire captains, and they each have the Sword of Anti-Heroes for a 40-second augment, 20% armor piercing damage, 20% damage, and they do have the Foe Seeker for the speed and vigor. They only have 66 speed. What does Balthasar have? He has 112 speed. Very, very fast. Yeah, and I think both of them are set up to be precisely the same. They are, for his backline, he has 2 units of Reichsguard really to go and with a backline harass in here, and for his artillery, he has a 1 Hellstorm rocket battery, which has really good range, 480 range, and he does have a Hailblaster volley gun, which is really strong against the Dowie. He doesn't have the greatest of range, but does a ton of damage. In his front line, he just has 3 units of great swords and 2 units of swordsmen, and he does have some swordsmen in the back lines to protect his artillery. Alright, so we're going to get this on the go, and first things first, I just really want to bring my army up, so that's the first thing. I have my army grabbed. I want to bring them up and get them into range and just let my guys shoot. As soon as I get a chance, I am going to change the target to his Hellstorm rocket battery and to his Hellblaster volley gun. You can see his Hellblaster volley gun is actually partly blocked by the swordsman, and he's going to start getting shots in right away. And I am moving up. You can see now I have these guys, the Hellstorm rocket battery targeted, and I do have his Hellblaster volley gun. And now he's finally sort of sorted himself out and figured out where he's going to go. He's getting his army up, and he's going to bring these guys around, and he's going to bring these guys around, and he does want to bring up Balthasar Gelt. But I am just going to engage. These miners are, this is not a waste. This is just, I really want to use my rangers to get his artillery. He is going to get around like this. I am just going to push and stop the swordsmen, stop the great swords. The miners are doing a great job, and I have routed. You can see I've already shattered these Hellstorm rocket battery, and he is coming after me. I'm trying to get those last shots in with my Bugman's Rangers, and now I need to get the heck out of dodge. And you can see those last few bits are going to do it, and he is going to rout. So now it's time to bring the boys home and start to shoot in with the Thunders. I really want to shoot at the great swords and these swordsmen. I really want to get that going. Now, these swordsmen, I don't really want to fight them with the miners. I actually want to take my miners, get them out of here, and replace them with the Dwarf Warriors, because the Dwarf Warriors will win that quite easily. And now I want to create a new pocket back here and get ready, because I can see he's sort of enveloping with these units, and I want to set up my units on the outside, particularly my Longbeards with great weapons, because they do have charge defense against large, and I want to get and defend against that harass. Now, he's got Balthasar Gelt is coming in. I think he wanted to come in and get some damage done, but I'm gonna at some point I'm gonna see him, and I'm gonna just start shooting at him I have got a lot of my units targeted over here on the Reichsguard. I want to shoot them down. I want to really maintain my force. I've got a bit of a blob. It's not the best back here. You see some of my miners are running. I have intercepted the Reichsguard here with my Longbeards with great weapons. I'm really trying to maintain this back line as best as I can. He's got his unit. He's got the bombardment going in the Bugman's Rangers. That's going to be a theme in this match. There's going to be more. But now I have gotten some shots, and I'm really focusing on Balthasar Gelth. And this is the one thing that's beautiful about these Thunders. If you let him be, boom. He's got him routing already. He's going to bring these Swordsmen around to the outside. And you can see I'm just continuously pushing these guys off, trying to get in their way. You got the Empire Captain in here, and this is a big kind of mess, but that is what it is, really. I'm just trying to chase as best I can, but, you know, Longbeards with great weapons can manage the Reichsguard. I'm really trying to focus on setting up my line. I'm happy to get my miners out here to fight this Empire Captain. This is a perfect engagement for me to hold them up, because they will get some damage in on him. He only has 45 melee defense, and really, we're sort of holding this pocket. Now, you can see we're trying to get into these Reichsguard. They have got a really massive rear charge in the Dwarf Warriors, but we're holding up their swordsmen with the miners, and we really are shooting at these Reichsguard. So we've got everything focused on the Reichsguard. I'm just trying to do my best to take targets of opportunity. I will go after that Empire Captain, but we're putting a ton of damage into this Reichsguard. And, you know, he's trying to push him around, and he's trying to get his other Empire Captain in his Reichsguard, and you can see he's going to forget him for a second over here, and he's in range of everything. I've got this Empire Captain getting shot by the Thunders, and everyone else shooting into these Reichsguard on this side. And you can see they're going to do a ton of damage and get that thing going. I'm trying to get my Longbeards with great weapons back up here. We got the Reichsguard here and the Swordsmen. The miners will not hold up. He's got another group of great swords going to come into that fight. I have been able to rout his Empire Captain and rout his Reichsguard. Now I've got these great swords sort of coming down the middle. My front line is holding. I am going to bring these miners. I'm trying to chase down his Empire Captain, and really I want to set up and make sure I try and defend my flanks. He's got these great swords coming after my Bugman's Rangers. I am going to pull them out and try and replace them with these Longbeards. I've really been working on sort of doing that, so I'm going to have my ranged here and get my Longbeards here, and meanwhile I've got everyone shooting on them except for the guys shooting the Reichsguard. I am trying to push in here and sort of get in the Reichsguard's way with both my Longbeards, and I have been able to really gun down those great swords. They're just about engaged, and I got my Longbeards in, and they are going to rout, and I have been able to stop the Reichsguard. I'm getting shots from my Thunders. Really, we've got a few units back here, but they're not doing much anything, and you can see we have been able to sort of muck them up with just a pure amount of forces. Now, I had two miners on these swordsmen. It's not the best matchup for me, but I'm holding them. I've gotten rid of these guys. I really still have an operational pocket here, and now I could shoot into these great swords and get them going, and I still got shots going into the Reichsguard. I want to just push them off the field, get them going. He's got his Empire Captain trying to go after these miners. The miners are going to do fine. I have no issues with what's going on there. I am going to get these swordsmen going. These swordsmen, I'm going to take some shots, and as soon as I get these Reichsguard, really, I'm just going to last samurai them. They're going to come into my line, and we're absolutely going to obliterate them, I think, down to the last horse, and that is the battle. So, I had a really fun time playing this battle, and I do really love those Vanguard deployments. I don't know if it's the best army ever conceived. I'm no doubt it isn't, but it's a very fun army to play, and I really enjoyed Belagar Ironhammer in this matchup because he's so cheap. It allows you to go so wide. Now, I could have focused on miners with blasting charges, but my miners were really to shield for the back line and that front line, and you know, they did their job. And I will say, you look, our little chevron trick in you know, in the value of chevron 7, I think we talked about this little trick. I got 7 free chevrons. 7 free chevrons. That's like 14 stat points ish, and very happy with that, you know. And really, I think my Bugman's Rangers has 60 models, 60 models, 60 models, and 58 models. Like, the spells really don't do much to the Bugman Rangers. You have to get in there and kill them. And really, but the miners, I mean, well, so Belagar got 33 kills, the miners 3, 12, 6, 8, and 14. They did their job. They did their job. And the Dwarf Warriors, 85, 24, 17. The Longbeards, 61 and 51, very solid in the backline. The Longbeards are great weapons. I got one chevron, one free chevron there, but 14, 16, and 19. Thunder is very, very nice, 39 and 28. We really did focus on big targets, and these Bugman Rangers are always so good. 19, 26, 39, and 22. It's not just that they're not just an upgraded ranger in terms of their ability to regenerate. They do more missile damage, and they can get a lot done really quickly. So for my opponent's army, Balthasar Gelt, we did pick him off early. He still did get some bombardment spells and transmutation of lead on me. The Empire Captain, I was very happy with how we controlled them, with just the sheer volume of troops in that back line. The Empire Captain, 12 and 12. The Swordsman, 24, 10, 16, 48. I mean, that's of what you would expect. And the Great Swords, 98, 114, and 55. The Great Swords, we just couldn't really focus them down, so they got their kills. Right? We didn't have a chance to focus them early. We really focused the Hellstorm Rocket Battery and Hellblaster. I mean, that was really a good pick at the beginning. We did trade essentially 2 full units of miners, so 650 gold, but we traded it for really 2,200 gold, something like that, for the Hellstorm Rocket Battery and the Hellstorm Rocket Battery and Hellblaster Volley Gun. Really put them out early. The Reichsguard were able to do very, very little into my back lines because they were charging into units with charge defense against large, and that could actually put a hurt on them if they stayed in combat. So, you know, I like to say, I don't know that this is the best build ever, but boy, is it fun. It is really fun to have those Vanguard deployments with the Dowie and catch someone, because no one expects the Vanguard deployment. Just like, I mean, even more so, people don't expect a Vanguard deployment from the Dowie that's going to be behind them. I've had a few games like that where I've put Rangers behind and being able to take out artillery before anyone realizes it. Those are my very favorite, but getting in someone's face early is really, really fun, and it's stressful. I know it's stressful for me to play against, because you have to take actions immediately, and you could see my opponent was sort of figuring things out, and it took a while before he got everything going for my line, and I was able to shield with these 3 miners in the front and pick off his Hellstorm Rocket Battery and his Hellblaster Volley Gun. Like, I just barely got his Volley Gun, but his Hellstorm Rocket Battery shattered it, and you know, pushed everything up, tried to replace everything really, really well. I would absolutely love to hear from you guys about the build and the game and the match and the opposition build. I mean, I don't see anything terrible with this build. I mean, I think it's just fine. The Great Swords are a good pick. You know, you can argue that a Hellblaster Volley Gun is very good in this matchup. You can argue with that Hellstorm Rocket Battery. That's, I think, the one argument you can make. But the Reichsguard are fine, and the Empire Captains, maybe no. I mean, maybe Witch Hunters are still sort of the best choice. Hard to say. I'd love to hear from an Empire player what they like to bring in this matchup against the Dowie, and from anyone who's been playing against the Empire with the Dowie, what they like to bring. I know the Dowie have an advantage in this matchup, so when you have an advantage, lots of builds work, and when you have a disadvantage, very few builds are really, you really need to have a stronger build to be competitive against the same level opponent, which Ender was about my strength as a player. So anyways, would love to hear from you down in the comments. I always ask for comments because I love them all. Even if you're dropping in just to say hi, I do appreciate it very, very much, because that's sort of the best part of doing this for me. So I look forward to hearing you down below in the comments. With that said, I will see you soon.